Hey, welcome back. Eric Cantor's landslide loss in Virginia's Republican primary is proof that money doesn't guarantee a victory. Certainly, Dave Bratt, the little-known college professor who trounced the House Majority Leader, spent about $122,000 on his entire campaign. Cantor's campaign spent more than that on just food, $168,000 at steakhouses alone to wine and dine donors. According to the website Open Secrets, Cantor outspent Bratt by a ratio of almost 41-1. Now, after Cantor's loss, Republican consultant and lobbyist Jeff Burton told Politico, and I quote, "I think the party is definitely going to be losing one of its top 2 fundraisers in the House." He says only John Boehner, the House Speaker, raises more money than Cantor. Keeping him honest, that is no accident. In our ongoing series, Congress for Sale, Drew Griffin tonight drills down on what it takes to land the plum jobs on Capitol Hill.
It is a chilly March evening in Washington, and a rite of spring for the Republican Party is about to take place. A strong wind whips the valets, but nothing can stop the parade of money walking into the National Building Museum. This invitation-only gala for the National Republican Congressional Committee has just one goal. Every Republican member of Congress is expected to bring a pile of cash for the party.
Congresswoman, good morning. How are you?
Where do they get it? Mostly lobbyists, of course, special interests, people and businesses who want to buy influence in Washington and find oh-so-willing members of Congress whose party bosses demand they take money. Republicans on this one night raised $15 million. The fundraising goals are clearly posted inside the office of the Republicans' congressional campaign. This recent photo of the list shows the more power you have, the more money you owe.
The theory is the more powerful the committee, the more senior your position, the more ability you have to extract money from people.
Author Peter Schweizer says it's why he named his newest book on Washington, Extortion.
To be a ranking member of a committee, to be on a subcommittee, A, B, C, D, like you said, it all has a price.
Yeah, it's a pay-to-play system, which is very troubling. It says if you have this position or want this position, here's how much money you have to raise. If you don't want to raise quite that much, there are other items on the menu. And that's very troubling because if anything speaks to our system being for sale, that is, I think, the most powerful indictment.
An NRCC spokesperson only pointed out Democrats do this too. That is an understatement.
Morning, Congressman.
Morning after the March Republican dinner, New York Democrat Charlie Rangel is getting dropped off at yet another routine breakfast fundraiser on Washington's northwest side. Rangel has won every general election he has been in since 1970 with more than 80% of the vote. For 14 years, not even a Democrat challenged him in a primary. Though he's in a tough primary battle this year, for the better part of 4 decades, he's had almost no competition. Yet he has raised and spent more than $24 million.
So many years you've had absolutely no opposition. What do you guys do with the money that you raise for these fundraisers and campaigns when you don't have anybody to run against?
Probably help other candidates.
Handing out money to fellow colleagues, to congressional campaign committees, to political action committees, critics like Peter Schweizer contend is how members of Congress gain power and, yes, buy votes. And it is why, need it or not, they keep raising it.
Nice to see you.
Case in point, Massachusetts Congressman Jim McGovern.
I hate raising money. It sucks. It's awful. It's the worst thing you can do.
McGovern has run unopposed in 5 of his last 7 elections. When he has had an opponent, he has trounced him in the ballot box and outspent him 10-1. Yet despite his hatred for doing it, McGovern has raised and spent nearly $10 million since first being elected. His top donors? Lawyers, law firms, and lobbyists. He may say he hates it, but it hasn't stopped him. McGovern even held fundraisers inside the homes of lobbyists, including his former chief of staff.
If there is one guy in Congress who could say no to the special interest, no to the lobbyists, get out of my office, it would be you.
Well, first of all, I think my record is one that reflects that I'm not upon a special interest.
But the cycle continues. Right. You keep raising the money. Right. When you don't need it, you do spend it. I assume that's to give to other people.
Right. I do. When I don't raise it,
you could have bankrolled it and kept it in a war chest for yourself and been able to tell
Right.
these lobbyists go away.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I raise the money, you know, because I don't know what's coming at me. If I don't need it, I give it to other candidates.
This election cycle, McGovern is expected to pay $250,000 to the Democratic Party. As a rising party star, he will raise and give away much more than that.
And regardless of what either party says about getting rid of special interests, this system is built in by them. This is their system.
You know, either party says that they're opposed to special interests. They've designed the system to reinforce and, in a sense, finance themselves based off of special interests. You couldn't design a better system to enhance the interlocking relationships between politicians and special interests than this pay-to-play system of so-called party dues that governs what happens in the House of Representatives.
You know, it's so fascinating to see all this stuff. It seems like no one's really talking, though, Drew, about changing it. There's not a lot of talk on Capitol Hill about ending what's essentially this pay-to-play system, as he calls it.
No, not at all. They mostly don't want to talk about this. When they do, they blame it on the system that's in place in Washington, Anderson. This is what they have to do. That's what they all tell us. What they forget to mention, of course, is they created the system. You have to bring money to the party if you want to play with that party.
An outsider, though, did just upset a major party boss on the Republican side with almost no money.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. Eric Cantor, he got beat, and his money didn't help him. That is true, Anderson. But if Dave Bratt gets elected now in the general election and gets to Washington, he's going to learn how the game is really played. And critics contend if Dave Bratt doesn't get in line, doesn't raise the money, the Republican Party has the power to effectively make him powerless. Same can be said about the Democrats.
Wow.